I was 28 years old the last time I worked for minimum wage. 28. I was just kicking a 6-year cocaine addiction and had not worked a real job in all those years. I'd been evicted from my house at the beach and was sleeping on my mother's office floor. I promised to take the very first job offered to me. Oops. I'll never forget the dread I felt when my dad came in and told me he'd run into a painting contractor and that the guy had agreed to take me on. I spent that spring and summer scraping and sanding in the Southern California sun, making less per day than most guys my age spent on a date. By the early fall, I'd gotten tired of doing the grunt work for lousy pay. I bought some used gear, made some flyers, and went into business for myself. That was 33 years ago, and I have never once collected unemployment or gone without a roof over my head. Why? Because a guy bothered to teach me a trade, even when he knew damn well that as soon as I learned it, I'd probably go out on my own and compete with him for jobs. He cut down his own productivity to walk a complete rookie through all the tricks of the trade. Did I work cheap? You bet. Did he make a couple bucks off every hour I worked? Probably. But I'm not confused about who got the better end of the deal. I did. No question. California has now decided that within a few years, every employer will pay $15 an hour to their entry-level employees. In other words, people with zero skills will now be paid $15 an hour to be taught some skills. I'll be honest, when I was getting the minimum wage to learn house painting, I wasn't worth the minimum. They were talking about the new law on our NPR station the other day. Most of the callers talked about how rich CEOs of big businesses are and how they could damn well pay their workers more. Nobody mentioned the fact that 50% of American workers are employed by small businesses. Little restaurants and manufacturers, and contractors like the one that hired me in 1984. Those businesses don't have any million-dollar CEOs. If the contractor who hired me had been forced to pay me twice what he did pay me, he simply would not have hired me, and I might still be sleeping on the floor of my mom's real estate office. The social justice folks go on and on about a living wage, but a person is not supposed to live on a trainee's salary. The whole idea of a graduated pay scale is to send a person striving up the ladder of success in search of better pay and better work. Each rung of that ladder requires more and better skills and pays better money. The social engineers want people to stay on the bottom rung while they force the good pay down the ladder. As always, their good intentions have unintended consequences. Why would I have bothered to better myself if I could have just kept doing rote task work and be paid twice as much? Why would anyone? How much anybody is paid for his labor is between him and his boss. The market is perfectly capable of figuring out what labor is worth. If you don't believe me, try to hire a guy from outside the Home Depot for minimum wage. I dare you. Let's not forget, when an entry-level employee gets bumped up by a new law, every single other employee of that company is going to want a raise too. Where's all that money going to come from? And remember, the cost of living varies widely. A 2-bedroom apartment in Wichita will run you $450 a month. That same apartment in San Francisco would cost 4 times as much. The notion of a national living wage is ludicrous. Even a statewide law fails to address these variables. Here's an idea. Why don't we let employers and their employees work it out? And why don't we encourage every minimum wage worker we meet to think big, to learn better skills, to become more valuable, and to get the hell up the ladder of success as quickly as possible? I think that we want a country filled with strivers. Don't you?